What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. In this one, I am going to be talking about how to deal with trauma as a man. And I'm going to include a trigger warning at the beginning of this video. We are going to be talking about some pretty messed up stuff, some pretty horrific situations. And if you are somebody that is easily triggered, if talking about anxiety, panic attacks, murder, death, gore, if those things tend to trigger you, I would steer clear of this video. But getting into it, the reason why I'm making this video in the first place is because something horrific happened in the public scene. Charlie Kirk was shot in the neck and killed. He's dead. A very famous political figure. And the video is circulating. Most people have seen it now. It's everywhere. And because everybody has a phone and everything's being recorded nowadays, you can see it in very, very graphic detail. I had a friend who I was talking him off the ledge a bit. He saw the video, he was sent it by somebody else, and he watched through it, and he kept saying, I wish I didn't see that. I wish that person hadn't have sent me that. It's throwing me off. I feel terrible. And he was getting a little bit worked up about it, and so I asked him a question. I said, hey man, have you ever heard of foxhole humor? And he said, no, why? What is it? Foxhole humor refers to the type of humor that men would use when sitting in a foxhole. So a divot in the ground in order to protect themselves from oncoming enemy fire. They would be sitting in the foxhole knowing that they're probably going to die, if not in the next couple hours, maybe over the next couple days. And if they're not in the next couple of days, they're probably going to die in this war that's going on. And yet they decide to sit around cracking jokes about how terrible their situation is. How did it come to this, bro? How did we get here? This is such a terrible situation, and yet you would catch men chuckling, laughing, cracking jokes with each other, showing each other camaraderie and kindness amidst absolute and utter horror. This is foxhole humor. Now, what do you need to understand about how to deal with trauma as a man? Let's dive a little bit deeper into this. I personally used to have horrible panic attacks. They were terrible. They were physical. I could feel it in my body that I was dying, that there was something so incredibly wrong with me, and I didn't know fully what it was. But it was all happening in my mind. My mind was convincing me that my body was in total agony, and that I was about to disappear off of the face of the planet. I was experiencing more pain than anyone in the history of the planet. This is how bad my panic attacks used to be. And if you're somebody who struggled with panic attacks before, you might be listening to this thinking, yeah, those things are no joke. They're no joke. I would spiral into stress and anxiety, and I would say things like, I wish this didn't happen to me. I wish I had been born normal. I wish that I didn't struggle with anxiety. I wish that I wasn't as depressed as I am right now. I wish I didn't feel this way. And ultimately, what I went on to realize was that I was trapped in a victim mindset. And it wasn't helping, sitting there feeling sorry for myself, saying, what is wrong with my mind? I just wish I was normal. Can I please go back to operating like a normal human being instead of feeling like I am in a perpetual state of constant torture? It was just making things worse. And what I was actually doing, I was substantiating the trauma that I was going through. I was saying, I am in this terrible situation. I am dwelling on the fact that I wish that I could be normal. I wish I wasn't this way. I wish I wasn't depressed. I wish I didn't have anxiety. And it wasn't helping at all. So what I started to do is develop a little bit of foxhole humor. I would kind of make jokes to myself about my situation. As funny as it sounds, I would say things like, how funny is it that I can't even get control of my mind when 100 years ago, if I was born 100 years ago, I might have been in D-Day. On the beaches of Normandy, when the front of the boat drops, watching all of my friends get their heads blown off. That's what it was like to be a man 100 years ago. Think back to World War II, the atrocities that occurred. In Poland, bodies stacked so high, you would have thought they were mountains. Imagine that level of trauma. And I would joke about it to myself in my head. How funny is that? All these other men throughout history, they've seen so much worse. And yet I'm sitting here with ample food, with ample water, with a cushy bed to sleep on, no wars to fight, very few enemies, and yet I cannot even get control over my own mind. How funny is that? I would start to make light of my situation. And what did I notice? It started to help. It started to help my situation. Instead of substantiating my trauma, instead of dwelling on it, I was now flowing through it. I was putting things in perspective. I was moving on. Which is why the next thing I want to focus on is how you need to put trauma in perspective. We are so incredibly sheltered from true human nature that when we see it on the news, we are absolutely blown away and disgusted. When in reality, what every one of us needs to understand is that this is just human nature playing out. We all have the capability for incredible violence, incredible evil, and incredible destruction. And trauma, at the end of the day, is only real if it is dwelt upon. If it is substantiated in your own mind. There's a book called Bad Therapy. I would suggest you go dive into this topic and understand how the brain works and how the brain plays a role in substantiating your trauma. What this book shows is that the more attention that you give to certain feelings, the more distress these feelings cause. Studies have shown this. So you spend time dwelling on these feelings, they cause more distress. This is what is called rumination. You're ruminating on it. You're sitting in it. You're thinking about it more and more. Oh, how terrible is this situation that I'm in? Oh, how terrible is this thing that happened? This thing that I saw. I wish that I didn't see it. It's affected me. It's destroying me. This rumination is directly tied to depression and mania. The more rumination, the more depression, and the more mania. When you have fully processed through something, when you have come to terms with it, when you accept it, you actually start to joke about it, to put things in more perspective. You start to make more light of the situation. Take 9/11 for an example. a truly horrific situation where so many people died and people were literally burning alive, jumping out of buildings. And yet today, on the internet, one of the most common things to joke about is 9/11. 9/11 humor is extremely common. I see jokes all the time cracked about the Twin Towers. And yet this would have been considered incredibly terrible to joke about right after it happened. So I'm not here to criticize you for the humor that you might have, for the things that you might have joked about, because we've all joked about some pretty terrible situations. My goal is not to criticize you for your humor, but to rather show you that trauma is ultimately what you make of it. It's important to see the good in every single situation, even if something seems so incredibly evil. And you may say, Brandon, in light of what happened today, this is disgusting that you're saying that. How can any good come from this? Instead of obsessing over the evil and continuing to dwell on it, I challenge you to see the good in it. I challenge you to see what will come out of it. I challenge you to see and process through what is happening. Because you dwelling on it gives it power. But we as Christians, if you truly believe the gospel, you understand that good comes out of everything. Good can come out of the worst thing ever. The persecution of an innocent man, the torture and the crucifixion of an innocent man can ultimately result in the best thing to ever happen. And we can take every single situation and say, hey, Jesus has conquered death. And so when we see these things, we don't need to obsess over the evil that is happening. We don't need to substantiate it. Instead, we can process through it. We can process through it, and we can move through it quickly. And oftentimes, we can see good come from these things. When we come face to face with human nature in a society where it is statistically the safest and most civilized it's ever been, we can't let it affect us too much. We have to stand firm. We have to stay strong. We have to put things into the perspective of history and life and what has happened, and overall be able to see the good that will come of it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I understand that this is a complicated topic. For some of you, you might not understand it. You might not understand what I'm trying to get across. But for those of you who do understand, I hope that I helped you out today. Make sure to drop a like on the video. Drop a singular thumbs up down in the comment section if you watched all the way through this video till the end. And make sure that you stay tuned for the next one, because I've got another really good banger coming out.